Hello and welcome to episode 171 of my podcast all about knitting and crochet and my yarn shop here in Wiesbaden, Germany. I'm Kiko and today is January 23rd, 2023. Today I'm wearing two rather old pieces. The stole or shawl that I'm wearing is crocheted, and I crocheted 12 squares. It's hard to see, but like this is one of the squares, and then I crocheted 4 of the squares together to be a sort of bigger square, and then I crocheted the 3 bigger squares together so that the one of the squares is in the middle, so that the back kind of looks like a triangular shawl. But then on one side of the square, I put the second big square. It's always difficult to explain, but I love this this shape of shawl. And so this is the 3rd square. And because the one square in the middle is sort of on its point, the shawl looks like a triangular shawl in the back, like this. But the 2 ends sort of look like a wide shawl and not like a triangular scarf, a triangular shawl. And I really like to have a bit more fabric in the front that sort of sits nice so it doesn't slide down as easily as a normal triangle. And you still have the whole back covered. Okay, this looks like a yarn. Anyway, so this is a Glitzermohair yarn that Rico, I think, used to sell, but it's really old. I don't think they still carry the yarn, and the single motifs aren't that big, but and really hard to see in the black yarn. But I really like it. And the pullover I'm wearing, that's really old. I knit that pullover for my son when he was about 10 years old. The design was the pullover was designed by my sister, who knit a pullover like this for every family member in her family, and everybody, each person had a different color. So they all had black as a background color, and the foreground color changed from person to person. And I think for her children, she knit several through the years. And I think she and her husband still have the ones that she made for them. But I never knit one for myself. I kept thinking about it. I never did. But I knit one for my son so he could go partner look with his cousins. And it's this sleeve to sleeve shape. And it's always 2 rows of black stockinette and then 2 rows of garter stitch in the color that the person liked. And back then my son liked green. I don't usually wear green, so at first I never thought about wearing the pullover myself. And I think when my son grew out of the pullover, I never thought about keeping it because it was a kid's pullover. I didn't really think it would fit me. But when I came across the pullovers a few months ago when I was looking at things, I realized that it sort of looked like it was big enough, and it actually is. So it's even longer than some of my pullovers. The sleeves are just perfect. So it's only the color green that makes me not wear the pullover very often, and also the fact that it's fairly old, so it's been worn a lot and you can still see some pilling going on. But I don't mind. It's still nice and warm, and it's fun to wear a different color for a change. So yeah, I decided to keep the pullover for myself and wear it until it falls apart. Or I find somebody else who wants to wear it. That's what I usually do with my clothes. Yeah, so that's what I'm wearing today. Then on to finished objects. I have 3 finished objects today, and I only have 1 new cast on. I'm rather proud of myself, but I really need to bring the number of works in progress down. So I'm trying to finish more projects than I cast on. We'll see how that works. Anyway, the first project that I finished last week is the Talavera blanket. And I actually managed to finish it at the beginning of the week so that I had time to wash it and block it and have it dry today. So that is done. And this is what the blanket looks like now. It's too big to get the whole blanket into the frame. It's not quite as long as my arms are wide, so I think it's about 1 meter and 10 centimeters one edge. As I expected, it hasn't really changed a lot through washing and blocking. I didn't really block it very hard. The main difference is in the outer edge, so that lies flat now. That was sort of not flat after I crocheted it, but now it looks really nice, and I'm really happy that it's done. And now I can't wait to give it to my friend who will receive the blanket. Yeah, so that's the first and the biggest finished object for today. And then the next project that I finished is the Baltic Summer Shawl or Shawlette by Martina Behm, and I knit that as part of the pattern battle in the Opal Abo group, Opal subscription group. So that was one of the skeins of yarn that we got in the subscription, I think in September last year. And if you want to see this color knit up into different in different patterns, mostly socks, you can have a look at the Opal Abo group on Ravelry. And yeah, so it's a little shawlette. I think it's really interesting and funny how the chevrons, zigzags run across the shawl, and then all the edges have those funny points and things. So I haven't washed it yet. I will wash it. I will probably lightly block it just to get all the edges to be nice and those points to sort of come out as much as possible. I'll probably try and block it a bit to get it just a little bit bigger. And then hopefully next week I'll be wearing it as during the podcast. Yeah, so that's the Baltic Summer Shawl out of Opal sock yarn. Yeah, very nice project. And now I really need to start the next pattern battle. So do have to have more new cast-ons. And then the last finished object of last week is the I-cord scarf, brioche scarf that I knit. That's a late Christmas present for my husband. He doesn't like his scarves to be too long, so all he wants to do is put it around his neck and then go like this and then put his jacket on. He doesn't want to wrap it around his neck a lot, so I didn't have to knit it very long. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. It's nice and squishy. This too hasn't been washed yet. It won't be blocked, definitely not. Especially with brioche. I would never block brioche because then it's flat and not interesting anymore. But this squishy texture, you really have to make sure to dry it lying flat and keep it sort of as small as possible to keep the squishiness. I cast on the stitches with an I-cord, and then I had the I-cords running both edges of the scarf, and then I cast off with an I-cord, so all the edges are consist out of I-cords. Yeah, really happy with the scarf. I hope my husband will wear it. I think he already likes it, so that's good. But yeah, we need really cold weather for him to wear a scarf. Yeah, so these are all the finished objects of last week. Then on to works in progress. As usual, I start with the socks, and the first sock I'm showing is the knee-high socks with the many patterns. And this is what I was trying to explain last week. Thank you, Colette, for reminding me that these are called treble clefs. But now you would have known what I was knitting, even if I didn't know the word. Yeah, so I really like this. I love music, and so I'm really happy to include this in my knee-high sock. And I've just done a little sort of in-between pattern on top with the next leftover bit of yarn, and now I can choose the next pattern. This time I'll have to choose something small, and before I choose it, I will compare this to the first sock to find out how many rounds I'll be knitting before the heel. So I'll have some counting and measuring to do, and then I can pick the next pattern. That is that. Then the next sock are the film reel socks for my brother-in-law. And even though I keep saying this is a high priority project, and I do carry it around with me everywhere, I hardly ever knit on it. So all I did is one of the film reels on this sock, and yeah, I still want this to grow faster. I do have to start the next pair. We'll see how far I'll get this week. And then the third sock I have on the needles at the moment are the like vanilla socks a la Annegret. So just simple stockinette. It's another Opal subscription, Opal abo yarn that I've had for quite some time. No idea when I got this. Yep, but really happy with how the yarn looks. And this is just a very easy project to be knitting when I am concentrating on something else. So these are the socks that I have on the go at the moment. Then the glove, that was another thing that was supposed to be high priority, and all I did is knit one of the fingers. So this is one of the Yoda mittens. This will only have like 2 fingers and 1 thumb, and it's supposed to help women who help people in need and give out food and clothes and stuff, and they often work outside or with open doors. And so for them to be able to have warm hands but still be able to grab things and sort things, I decided to knit these and donate the gloves to them, and then they can see if they can work with them. So another project that needs to grow quicker. Then the next sock yarn project that I have on the go, that's grown quite a bit, but that's not so much because of my own decision, but that's because I'm knitting it along with one of my customers, and she was very busy this week. So we are knitting this colorful dog is what it's called. I think it looks more like an fantasy animal, imaginative animal. I don't know how to call it, but this has grown quite a bit. So I think last week we'd just done the head, and have we finished the arms, or was it just one arm? I don't remember. Anyway, so we knit the head, then we knit the arms, then we knit the body that has a cable pattern running down the body. That's quite fun. All the pieces are still open so that we can put the stuffing in later, so we don't have to hold the stuffing while we knit. Then after the body, the stitches were put on something and then we knit the legs and the huge big feet. So these are still open. We knit these, what are these called? Can't remember right now, but yeah, we knit these. I knit these things on the feet. My customer decided not to do them on the feet. The dog will get the same thing round the bottom, and she wants to do those. And then the last thing we knit were the ears, and there I made a mistake because the ears should have opened to the front, but now they've opened to the back. Or we'll have to put them like this. I don't know. They won't get stuffed, so we can decide. I think they look quite nice like this as well, but we could put them like this. But I think we can make the decision once the hat has been stuffed and it's easier to see what the whole animal looks like. Yeah, but it has quite a nice size, and looking forward to, we'll probably finish this week. My customer's really eager to finish it. And as I'm knitting along with her, there's a good chance we'll get this finished this week. And then we come to the one new cast on that I have, because that's another sock yarn project, and it's another snap hat. I knit a snap hat last month to send to my father and my brothers, and I really liked the one that I knit, so I decided I wanted to make one for myself as well. And I decided to use blue colors, which is quite fun because the needles are blue as well. And I chose this Opal 100 Wasser yarn, which was quite a lot left over. And I thought this could run through the whole hat. And then I've been using several leftover yarns. This is right now the tiniest. I think I changed the first color after the ribbing because one of the balls was just gone. And now I want to change the color every 4 rounds, but I'm not quite sure this is going to last until the 4 rounds are over. So I might change one a bit quicker there, but I just enjoy changing the colors. And the way the pattern is written, you knit on the outside, so you knit stitches, but then you're supposed to wear the inside, to wear it inside out, so that the sort of reverse stockinette is the outside of the hat. Which I think is quite fun too, but I think I prefer the stockinette side. So I will probably wear my hat like this, but not sure yet. Maybe if I weave in the ends nicely, I can wear it this way round or that way round and just keep changing it up. Yeah, it's not too much, but that went fairly quickly because it's 4 strands of yarn and thick needles. So that's another project that I would like to finish this week. We'll see. We'll see. Then what's next? Yeah, I cast on another dishcloth. So the yarn that I was given from the States, I already finished 2 of the dishcloths. And the 3rd ball of yarn that I got is not the recycled yarn, but it's a pure cotton. And it's those colors that I really, really like. And when I thought about what pattern to use for this, or when I was thinking about knitting dishcloths and how I really like to have more dishcloths and I never knit them, I realized that part of the reason is that I get bored knitting dishcloths really quickly. And the last 2 that I knit, the inspiration or the motivation to knit was because I got this new yarn. But I can't always get new yarn to knit dishcloths because I have quite a lot of yarn already that I want to turn into dishcloths. And I realized if I want to motivate myself to knit them, I think I need to choose more interesting patterns. So instead of just doing them garter stitch or with a very simple pattern, I decided to look for some more interesting pattern. So I got my Japanese knitting stitch Bible, and I looked at the patterns, and this is the one that I picked for this dishcloth. And I think I want to make more dishcloths with patterns either from that book or from other pattern books that I have, but just make it more interesting for myself. And then when I use the dishcloths, it'll be fun to remember the pattern. And yeah, maybe I could do some other projects with the same pattern once I've tried it and I know how it works. So we were talking with some friends that you could use this pattern to knit a summer top, and you could just use the pattern on the bottom of the top and you'd have this wavy edge, and then you could do the rest in stockinette stitch, keep it simple, but just have this little bit of interest in the summer top. And yeah, so I hope with that method to get myself to knit more dishcloths in the future and to also work through my stash, not just with the shiny new yarn. So that's that. Then I continued knitting on the double knitting project that I started last week. And I used the merino yarn to knit a square out of the book Knitting Block by Block by Nikki Epstein. And I picked the dinosaur skeleton. And last night I finished the skeleton. So this is what the square looks like now. The knitting is basically finished, but I just couldn't remember how to do the cast off in a way that it looks like the cast on, which is like invisible. And I know there's a way to do the cast off so that it looks the same, but I couldn't remember to do that. I was too tired last night to check the video out and look at how it works. And yesterday I also talked to the little boy I want to give this to. He's a big dinosaur fan, and he decided he would prefer a loop scarf rather than a normal scarf. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit 3 different of those squares. I'll choose another color. So I'll probably going to use a turquoise color, and then I'll have 1 square with the white and the turquoise, and then 1 with the turquoise and the blue. And then I'll sew the 3 squares together, and then he'll get this funny or cool or whatever dinosaur skeleton loop scarf. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. Looking forward to finishing this and then starting the next square. Then we're coming to the sweater department, and I was on Sleeve Island there, but I finished one of the sleeves. So the Dreamcatcher pullover, that's officially called something else in the book. I finished knitting the second sleeve, so both sleeves are the same length now. I'm not 100% sure that's the length that they are going to stay, because the yoke of the pullover has a lot of pattern, so I have to knit the yoke to that size, which is why I'm going to do the yoke next instead of knitting the front and back bottom up. I want to do the yoke with a provisional cast on, and then once that's done, I can measure and see if the sleeve length is okay, or whether I want to add something or take something out, and then I can sew them on with Kitchener stitch, and then I can knit the rest of the front and back top down. So that's the plan, which is why I knit both sleeves from the same ball of yarn, so I can keep the yarn hanging on the sleeves. I can use the next ball of yarn to knit the yoke, and then yeah, it'll be quite interesting, be a bit different from how the pullover is supposed to be knit, but yeah, we'll see. So as soon as I've started the yoke, I'll show you the book again, so you can see what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and then that should be interesting. And the other sweater, the cardigan that I'm knitting out of Noro Silk Garden solo yarn, and I have started the second sleeve, and I've knit about, I would say, half the sleeve. I had a bit of, had to concentrate quite a bit to get the increases to be the same as on the first sleeve, but I think I have managed. Now I just need to keep knitting, increase the same rate that I'm increasing now, because I changed the pattern set to increase every 4 rounds, I think, and then I switched it over to increasing every 8 rounds, otherwise it would have been too wide. And yeah, so as soon as I finish that sleeve, I will start the front and backs from the bottom up, because I will improvise the yoke section of the cardigan, because this is supposed to be knit in pieces and then sewn together, but I don't like it, so I decided to change it into a raglan cardigan, and then with the raglan I can sort of decide how long I want it to be, so I can make sure that the yoke is long enough to make the sleeves the right length. That's my thinking. Hope it works out. So that's that, and then we are already at the last project, I think. This is going to be a quick video, which is okay, I think. So my favorite project at the moment, one that I have to tell myself to not continue crocheting after a certain point, so that the other projects can grow as well, is my alpaca lace granny square. So I added, how many rounds did I add? 2, 4, 6, 7. So last time I had done the 2 grey rounds, and then I repeated the dark blue, then the pink and purple, another dark blue, and then I did the 2 green colors. So the light green is I'd already used here, but the dark green is, I think, the last color except for black and dark grey that I hadn't used yet. So I did that, and then I did 1 round of the middle grey, which is going to be the color that I keep repeating now. And yeah, and apart for the grey and black, I'm going to continue repeating colors. So the purple and the dark blue were colors that I had repeated more often. I've now crocheted the pink twice, another round of purple, and the light green I've done twice. And now I'll probably do something like the light blue and the middle blue. And then I want to repeat this sort of blue-green color and my favorite color, Deep Ocean, and then with the gray in between. So that's sort of how I want to continue with this square. And another interesting fact, I've now crocheted 31 rounds, and this weighs almost exactly 50 grams now. So depending on your gauge and the hook size you use, I could have crocheted this size square out of 1 ball of yarn. That would be 50 grams and 400 meters. Yeah, so that's quite interesting. And I still love it. It's so squishy. I still love just giving it to people, say, please touch it. And they all go like, oh, I still love it. It's so fun. Yeah, but as a triangular shawl, it's still tiny. I could just get it around my neck the way it is, but I do want it to grow quite a bit. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not knitting anything in the knit-along department. I finished the I-cord scarf. I'm not quite sure whether I want to do another I-cord project, but I haven't thought about a new knit-along either, so I'm not quite sure what to do. With the Viva Vittoria, I really want to do at least 1 more square before the time's up to donate them, but that means I really have to get a move on. I have to make a decision what I want to knit, which yarn I want to use. I'll probably use some bigger needles and either hold some yarn double or triple or something to get it done quickly. But both knit-alongs are sort of still running. It's just that I'm not knitting anything at the moment. I will definitely cast on something this week, maybe even 2 somethings, we'll see. I'll let you know next week, and I'll start thinking about the next knit-along. Yeah, so that was everything I knit and crocheted last week. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!